Hi, hello everybody. My name is Professor Abdul Karim from University of Science Malaysia, and in this lecture I will talk about the processing of fats and oils. We are focused on the extraction process. Okay, let's start by looking at the overview of the process of oil processing. So basically we start with the raw material. So the raw material can be the seed, for example, from soybean seed or the cotton seed, sunflower seed, or from the oil palm fruits. Then the oil has to be squeezed out from the raw material. So for this purpose, we can use two types of extraction. We can use an organic solvent. So this is a solvent extraction, which will extract the fat or the oil from the fruits or from the seed. And another process is without using solvent, which is basically we call physical extraction. So usually this is using a mechanical press, for example a screw press, to expel or to extract the oil physically out from the seed or from the oil. At the end of the extraction process, what we'll get is the crude oil. So the crude oil usually contain a lot of things, undesirable components such as free fatty acid, FFA, or it can contain phospholipids, pigments, and a lot of moisture. So this is something that is undesirable. So the next process is to purify the oil, and basically this what we call the stage or the process of refining. To refine the oil, to remove all the as much as possible the undesirable components from the crude oil. So the first stage, basically the first stage of the oil processing is to extract the oil to get the crude oil. Then after that, refining. Then the second major stage in the oil processing is the modification. The objective of modification is to modify the properties of the oil to produce oil products with different physical properties. Some of these modification is process, for example, hydrogenation. This is a very widely used process in the industry to increase the melting point and solid fat content of the fat. So usually we use this process to produce a product like margarine. Then there is also interesterification process and also fractionation process. So the idea of this modification process is to produce various types of oil products which have higher value and which can be used for many food application. You may be familiar with a few types of vegetable oil, but commercial oil can be extracted from various types of seed and fruits. So for example, on this slide you can see that oil can be extracted from the soybean, from the palm oil fruits, oil palm fruits, from canola, from sunflower, from the coconut flesh, and from the palm kernel. So for the oil palm, this is the oil palm fruits. The red, the orange flesh outside is from from where we can get the crude palm oil, and the white flesh inside, this is actually the palm kernel, and we can actually extract the palm kernel oil, which have different physical and chemical composition from the palm kernel part. Then oil also can be extracted from corn, from cotton seed, from olive, linseed, sunflower, safflower, and from castor oil. I will now focus on the extraction of palm oil from the oil palm fruits. So you can see on the slide here, the picture of the oil palm fruit bunch on the tree, and this is a picture of the fruit bunch and the cross section of the fruits. And if you have not seen how the oil palm tree looks like, this is how it looks like. The tree, this is still quite it's not very tall, so you can see the fruit bunch between the fronds like this. So you have to be very careful because there's a sharp thorn between the fruit bunch. If you're not careful, you can get your fingers or your hand injured. Okay, this is how the oil palm fruit bunch looks like if you have not seen one. So you can see there's a sharp thorn there, and it's the fruitlets. Down here you can see the fruitlets been stripped out or come out from the fruit bunch. And if we take a cross section of the fruitlets, you can see this mesocarp or the flesh area. This from the part where we can extract or we can get the crude palm oil, and the white flesh is the palm kernel, and surrounded by the shell, the hard shell. So we can basically we can get two types of oil here: the crude palm oil from the mesocarp and the palm kernel oil from the white flesh or from the kernel part. So after the extraction, we can get from the mesocarp or from the outer flesh, we can get the crude palm oil. So the color is very dark orange color, and here you can see in this picture the oil has actually separated into two layers. The bottom layer is contain a lot of insoluble component or phospholipids and other things that need to be removed, and the upper layer is basically the oil. And the kernel, the middle part of the fruit bunch here, this is how it looks like. Actually the shell is very hard. We have to break the shell to get into the white flesh, and we can extract the oil from the kernel to get the crude palm kernel oil. And this how the crude palm oil looks like. It's quite thick and viscous with red or orange color. Actually it contains a lot of rich amount of carotenoids. And in this picture you can see the side by side the comparison between the appearance of crude palm oil and the appearance of crude palm kernel oil. And here again the more close-up picture of the oil palm fruit bunch. Looks very beautiful, isn't it? So the story starts from the plantation. The fruits, you can see here the oil palm tree here now is quite tall, so we have to use the pole to bring down to harvest the fruits from the tree. It's not a very easy job, I can tell you. Then the fruit bunch will be collected. These days we can use the tractor or the modern means to collect the fruit. Then the fruit will be transported by train or by using a lorry to the factory. As you can see here, the tractor bring a full load of oil palm fruits into the factory to be processed. So if you live near the plantation, you can see sometimes the fruits now in this case the fruits is being transported by the train here, and this train actually will go to the factory. And this is how the palm oil mill looks like. So you can see the oil palm fruit bunch being stored in the open space here, and inside here where the processing take place. So now let's look at the extraction process. And before that, we can see again this nice picture of the fruitlets which from the oil palm fruit bunch, and it's a picture of the kernel. And the kernel, the outer shell is actually very hard. So to get into the white flesh inside, so the shell has to be broken before we can extract the oil from the palm kernel. So for the preparation of the oil palm fruits before processing, so usually we will go through the sterilization process. Before pressing out the oil from the oil palm fruits, the first step is the sterilization process. And in this process, the oil palm fruit will go through the sterilization in the sterilizer. The function of this, the function of sterilization process is to deactivate the lipolytic enzymes. The lipolytic enzymes such as lipase in the oil palm fruits can cause hydrolysis of the triglycerides or the fat to produce free fatty acid, and this is undesirable chemical reaction that need to be stopped. So by using the high temperature in the sterilization process, we can deactivate the enzyme and stop the hydrolysis process. The function of this sterilization process is to activate the lipolytic enzymes. In the fresh fruits, the presence of lipolytic enzymes such